Hey everyone, Cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile, is here, and happy Friday. Today is day 32 of Oscar Rewind 2024 edition. And for those joining today for the first time, really quick, Oscar Rewind is my bi weekly series of videos where I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. My hope is that you will discover a new older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I will review the awards season history for the film, the box office information, the critical reception, and as always, these reviews will be spoiler free. So, been a few weeks, but today we are revisiting a biopic. And fitting enough, earlier this week it was half Christmas, National Leon Day. We did Office Christmas Party. Today we discuss a film that was released on Christmas Day in 1992. Yes, talking about our Christmas movie, or I'm talking about Christmas in themes. Well, you're with me. But today I'm discussing TriStar Pictures' Chaplin. Yes, the biopic of the cinematic tramp. Chaplin was written by the team of William Boyd, Brian Forbes, and William Goldman, based on two books. First, Chaplin's autobiography, titled My Autobiography, released in 1964, and Chaplin, His Life and Art by David Robinson, that was released in 1985, as well as a story credit that was given to the film's associate producer, Diana Hawkins. Directed by two-time Oscar winner Richard Attenborough, the film underperformed at the box office. According to Box Office Mojo, the film shows only domestic revenue, making its worldwide total of $9,493,259 on a reported $31 million budget. Additionally, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film shows a divide with a critical rating of 61% based on 56 reviews and an audience score of 81% based on over 25,000 reportings. So, how did the tramp and star of the silent screen era land on Rewind this year? Well, it's the star of this film. Three-time Oscar nominee who won his first Oscar this year for Best Supporting Actor in Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr., received his first Oscar nomination for this biopic back in 1993. And guess what? It doesn't just end there. For my Puna tour into the design elements, Chaplin's costume designer, Ellen Mirojnick, celebrated her first Oscar nomination for costume design this year, also for Oppenheimer, over 4 decades since her first reported costume design credit on 1978's French Quarter, and she has designed the costumes for over 70 films such as Wall Street, Speed, Showgirls, and The Greatest Showman. Okay, maybe talked a little bit more about her history than Downey here, but I believe many of us are familiar with Downey, especially after he was introduced to us as Iron Man. And not many know always about the designers, so that's why we like Rewind, right? I try to dig into everything I can. Back to Chaplin. Nominated for 3 Oscars, Downey for Best Actor, Stuart Craig and Chris Butler for Best Art Direction slash Set Decoration, which today is combined into one title for Production Design, and John Barry for Best Original Score. The film was also nominated for 4 BAFTAs. John Molo and Ellen Mirojnick for Costume Design, Craig again for Production Design, and Wally Schneiderman, Jill Rakow, and John Caglione Jr. for Best Makeup. And the fourth, which was its sole win, was for Downey. Downey and Barry were also nominated for Golden Globes in their acting and score categories, respectively. And Chaplin's real life daughter, Geraldine Chaplin, was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for playing her own paternal grandmother. So, how's that for some family connections in a film, huh? Chaplin opens with an elderly Chaplin near the end of his life reviewing his autobiography manuscript with fictional editor George Hayden, played by Sir Anthony Hopkins. So the scenes with the editor that pop up throughout the film are the only things that are fictionalized. We don't have any documentation about these conversations. Now, as Hayden asks him clarifying questions, a trope that the film utilizes a lot through its almost 2.5 hours, Chaplin will tell his story, inviting the audience to go back in time with him. We will start in the earliest days when his mother, Hannah, played by Geraldine Chaplin, using the whole name there to keep it clear so Chaplin doesn't just get thrown, She's struggling to feed her children, young Charlie and Charlie's older brother, Sidney. Developing a mental illness, she will be remanded to the asylum, leaving Charlie and Sidney to make their own ways, which after time leads to some time spent in a workhouse and leads them to working on variety shows in London. And from here, we will follow all the key events in Chaplin's life as he goes from variety show player in London and how he gets sent over to America to be a supporting player in American silent films, and how he goes to becoming one of, if not the most famous person in the world at the time by opening and running his own film studio before he was 30. And along this journey, we will meet the many women who come in and out of his life, played by the likes of such actors as Marissa Tomei, Moira Kelly, Penelope Ann Miller, Diane Lane, Mila Jovovich, and Nancy Travis. The relationships also that he meets with many in the industry, including filmmaker Max Sennett, played by Dan Aykroyd, his first director in silent films, famed actor Douglas Fairbanks, played by Kevin Kline, and even the challenges that Chaplin goes through when crossing paths with the man who was instrumental to the formation of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, played by Kevin Dunn. A mini spoiler, this will all add to a culminating event where Chaplin receives an honorary Oscar, but not without showing the challenges that got him there. Now, this film absolutely shines when Downey Jr. gets to be Chaplin, or I should specifically say the tramp. All of his physicality when he is recreating Chaplin's early film roles is such a sight to see. And also, Attenborough smartly decided to have Downey play Chaplin from the teen years up to the present day where the film is set, clearly showing the credit to the makeup team and how they completed this journey, where they could have easily possibly maybe cast different actors. He kept Downey for the whole thing, chronicling nearly 60 years. Now, of course, where the film falters, as unfortunately many biopics sometimes tend to do, it tries to chronicle too much. And as a result, doesn't really get to fully explore any of the facets of his life too deeply. Chaplin's life was very full. And in a sense, you could have almost said there could have been three different films that focused on three different chapters of his life. One could focus on the romantic life, and there's more than enough with some of the drama that came from some of the women that he was involved with. Then there could have been the one specifically about his film career, his performance, and the invention of talkies and all of the films that he did. And then, if you wanted, you could even create a third one that would focus on his filmmaking and the impact of the FBI and his citizenship. And what also kind of detracted for me is we're trying to follow the story, but then we consistently get taken out and jumping to these present day conversations with Hayden. These are unnecessary. It did not serve the plot of the film for me. It kind of doesn't keeps it from going in a straight line. But I have to say, all of this said, this cast is truly a who's who of that time frame, the early 90s. And while some of the cast, kind of came and went so fast, it was so nice to see so many of them grace the screen and presenting the roles they were. Of all the women in Chaplin's life, Tomei and Lane were the standouts for me of all the ones we met. And it's kind of unfortunate that such a stacked cast has to get through so much content in such a limited amount of time. Not saying that 2.5 hours is short, but not enough to share all we need. It almost makes me wonder if maybe there's a longer version or a 4 hour version with a lot of content left in the archives or on the cutting room floor. But look, on a side note, I wouldn't be remiss if I didn't say one of the reasons here that we're here. I want to credit Downey for going on this 60-plus year journey. And kudos to Mirajnik and Molo for their costumes going through this wide scope of time and Downey playing these ages. In some ways, the fact that Downey and Mirajnik were recognized for Oppenheimer this year, you could almost say that Chaplin was their dry run. Because Oppenheimer, we also know, covered about 4 decades or so of American history. All in all, it's an excellent 5-star performance from Downey, but the film as a whole is only a 3-star film for me. It's difficult when a film both feels long and short as this one did, but somehow it manages. But as always, you be the judge. If you would like to watch Chaplin or rewatch it as it's been a while for you, the film is actually now currently streaming on Prime as of this recording and posting. Wasn't there a couple months ago. It was recently added. So there you have it. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click the button and subscribe to the channel. Spread the word. You can follow me on all social media platforms, then on Letterboxd, and you can check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for additional exclusive movie reviews of this summer's new flicks, including this week's new big release, A Quiet Place Day One, which will be posted by this Sunday, if not sooner. Happy watching, everyone, and until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.